Operational matters. These will all be determined by the local area commanders, the patrol commanders in the various police districts, and they have my full support in making sure their own communities remain safe.
Minister, what's your reaction to the wedding venue in Fairfield breaching numbers?
I cannot believe that any sound person in this state in 2021 doesn't understand what their obligations are. And this wasn't a dozen people turning up to Christmas lunch unannounced. This was twice the amount of people that were allowed to attend this venue. And given that that venue is so close to Barella, I would have thought that any operator of any licensed premises in that district would be going to the nth degree. This isn't just about making sure that we comply with the spirit of the law. We've got to comply with the real law, and both of them are as important as each other. So I'm actually quite disgusted that anybody would put their community at risk that way. If they did it for money, well then they really need to have a good hard look at themselves.
Venue operators being fined. Should it have been obvious to anyone there that it was too many people? Should there be 700 pins handed out?
As I've said all along, as the Premier has said all along, everybody has to take individual responsibility. If you think that there is something not right at a venue that you're at, you leave it. I've already left parties in this state since the pandemic's arrived because I've seen that there could have been potentially a breach of the public health orders, and I don't know why anybody wouldn't approach their lifestyle that way. We cannot just rely on the police to enforce these regulations. We have to comply with these regulations. They're regulations that are going to stop us from going back into lockdown. They're regulations that are going to keep the economy open. The regulations are going to make sure that we can all get on with our life as quickly as possible.
That was held at the Rudy Hill RSL and possible breaches there.
Well, I've seen the footage, and it's quite clear to me that the Rudy Hill RSL have a case to answer for. There was clearly singing going on. There was clearly no social distancing going on. There was clearly a complete breach of the spirit of whatever regulations they're expected to comply with. I would have thought better from a registered club. The vast majority of registered clubs, and I've spoken to Josh Landers from Clubs New South Wales already twice today, the vast majority of registered clubs are doing a fantastic job. I've been to visit a few of them over the course of the last couple of months, and they are doing a wonderful job in complying with the law. But if Rudy Hill RSL wants to set aside everybody else's obligations, when everybody else, all those other licensed venues have suspended their entertainment, their entertainment offerings, but if they want to go ahead and do this sort of thing, well then they deserve the PR disaster that's coming to them.
Do you think human nature should have done something?
Well, again, we're all obliged to comply with the spirit of the law, and if any entertainer thinks that they are at a venue which is in breach, well then they've got, if not a legal obligation, a moral obligation to walk away from the venue, and that's what's happened. I mean, as I've said in the past, so many people have done the right thing. 99.9% of the population are doing the right thing. It's going to be that 0.1% of the population that run weddings in Fairfield or run clubs in Rudy Hill that are doing the wrong thing, are going to drag us back into lockdown, and look out if they do.
You spoke about the awful tragedy of Blue Mountain losing an officer. Could you tell us more about who she was and her background and how the police and community is doing in the Bathurst and Lithgow areas?
Yeah, well, they're doing it tough, and the Commissioner I've already spoken to, the Acting Commissioner I've spoken to this morning, he's going out to Lithgow this morning to have a talk to the local officers who have been quite close to Kelly. This is what police do. And anybody who wants to criticise the way the police do their business need to reflect on the fact that, first and foremost, they're there to save lives. They're there to drag us out of cars when we smash them up. They're there to drag us out of rivers when we start to drown. They're there to make sure that if there's if we're in danger from being assaulted or in any other environment that is dangerous, well then it's their job to protect us. People need to realise that, and that's what Kelly was doing over the course of the weekend. It's tragic. It's a terrible way for the police family to start the year. She'd been in the police for quite some time. She'd actually survived breast cancer herself, and so for somebody who was so strong to be able to get through that particular trauma, it is an awful loss to the police family, and she'll be very, very fondly remembered. Well, I've been on the record for quite some time to make sure that we use the dam levels to protect the community in Western Sydney. That's my electorate. It's the electorate of a number of other MPs that will always be concerned about the high levels of Warragamba Dam. It's been my appeal to make sure that they're at a level that will mitigate any risk of flooding.